Okay, students, so this is our first independent learning video for A-level Year 1. That's the 2-year linear course of English language, and it's focusing on word class. So you're going to be tested on your independent study of word class. This is you've been given a booklet of terminology. This first test that you're going to be doing is on word classes, and this video is designed to help you with your independent learning of that terminology. Okay, so thankfully, as a first test, there's not that many different things to learn. There are only 9 word classes. Excuse my scribbles. I've had to go at the video before. It didn't quite work. So I'm going to go through this again. But these are the nine word classes. There's only ever going to be these 9. And to be honest, this one down here, interjections, they aren't really even a word class. They could be seen as one, but they're sort of something quite different. So they're not really words. So we'll do this one first, interjections. Essentially, the sort of sounds. So you might hear people go, "Oh, what a great idea," or "ee, that's fantastic," or "ooh," something along those lines. They're more like sort of noises to express surprise, or something along those lines, or sort of "ooh, ooh," something along those lines. So they're sort of not quite a word class in the same way the other ones were, but you do need to learn that word for O's and E's and R's and things along those lines, sort of called interjections. Okay, but these are the 8. These are the ones that really matter. These ones here. So these 8 word classes, you're going to use the same ones essentially forever. There is only ever these 8 when it comes to an understanding of how words work. Every word in every language is at least one of these, and every word in the English language is always at least one of these. So if you learn these 8, you will always be able to analyse grammar. There's nothing you can't do with it. Okay, so it's always the same, and you have to learn them from the start. So very quickly, I'd expect you to know these 3 to start with from school, really. Nouns are things, verbs are actions, and adjectives describe things. Okay, so if I say this is my pencil, that is a thing, and so it's a noun. Okay, it can be sort of abstract things as well, so joy, happiness. Essentially, can you put the or at or some in front of it, it's a noun. There is lots of joy, there's some joy in this room, or there's lots of happiness, there's some happiness in this room. It would still be a thing, but not a real thing, it would be an abstract thing, and there is a pencil or the pencil in the room, so that's a thing too. So they're things, and adjectives describe things, so this is a pencil, and it's a blue pencil, isn't it? Blue pencil, or you could say the pencil is blue. Okay, you could post-modify it like that. Verbs then are actions, so I could drop the pencil, or the pencil was dropped, or I am dropping the pencil. So verbs show you different tenses, don't they? And they're the things that they do. Those are actions. Okay. One that some people get a little bit confused about is the pronoun. It's not to be confused with the proper noun, a type of noun. So proper noun will be things like names that begin with capital letters. So Phil, that's my name, and Manchester. They have capital letters, and they're proper nouns. They're types of thing, aren't they? They're names and places. But pronouns aren't types of thing. They replace things. They stand in for things. So if I was to say that this is a pencil, this is a blue pencil, and then I would say it is blue, you know I'm referring to the pencil. The word it is standing in for the pencil. If I was to say my name is Phil and I say hello, the word I is standing in for my name Phil. So that proper noun Phil is replaced by the pronoun. That's why it's really important not to get confused between pronouns and proper nouns. So pronouns stand in for things. So the words like he and she and it and you and me and I. And even some words like this and that can be used in that way as well. So standing in for a noun. Okay, adverbs, you should already know from school that adverbs describe verbs, they modify verbs, they tend to end in ly when they're describing verbs like quickly and slowly. But at A level, one of the most important things is that adverbs also modify adjectives as well. So they don't just modify verbs, they also modify adjectives. So if I say this is a blue pencil, a blue adjective, pencil, concrete noun, I could say it is a very blue pencil. So that very is modifying the word blue, isn't it? How blue is it? Oh, it's very blue. It's extremely blue. It's definitely blue. A definitely blue pencil. Okay, so adverbs don't just describe verbs. I drop the pencil quickly. Yeah, absolutely. That there is an adverb describing a verb, but I could say I dropped the very blue pencil quickly, and then you've got 2 adverbs in there. Very blue pencil quickly in that way. Okay? Determiners you probably haven't come across before. They can be confused with adjectives. They can certainly be confused with pronouns. But the key point with a determiner is it goes before a noun. So it doesn't replace a noun like a pronoun. It goes before a noun. The simplest ones are at and the. Okay, so they're determining like whose it is or how many there are. So there is a pencil, and there it is. There is the pencil, and there it is. Okay? Whereas if I was to say, it is a pencil, it pencil, is the verb to be, a pencil, noun. So it is replacing a noun, whereas a determiner is going before one. It's not replacing it, it's going before one. So your words like a and the are the basic ones, and then you have words like his and her and my and your. They determine whose it is. This is your pencil, it's my pencil, it's his pencil, it's her pencil. And interestingly, some words can be both. So a word like his, if you take that word, this is his pencil, this is his pencil. The pencil is his. So here we've got his pencil, that's going before the noun, isn't it? But if I say the pencil is his, your response is whose, Phil's. So that his is replacing that proper noun, Phil. This is his, this is Phil's, but this is his pencil, it's going before the noun. That's the only point of confusion with those. Determiners go before and they determine whose it is or how many there are, and pronouns replace. That's the idea. Okay? Prepositions are really nice and easy. So they're generally, the easiest point about prepositions is that they show position. So things like under and beside and next to, and also words like with and things along those lines. So what was it? One of the teachers used to say here. Chris used to say that it's anywhere a squirrel can go. Is under, roundabout, beside, on top of, things along those lines. They're prepositions. And then conjunctions are what you might call connective. So and but and so and however. There's several different types, but essentially they're words that connect things together. They connect either nouns together, like fish and chips, or they could connect whole sentences together to make compound sentences. So, I went to the shops and it was nice, something along those lines. Okay? So adjective, noun, verb, pronoun, determinant, adverb, preposition, conjunction, interjection. All you have to ever learn for word class basics is those 9. It will never change, but for each of those we're going to learn in a moment some what we call sub-word classes, so different types. So we've already got that there are different types of noun, concrete and abstract and proper, but for most of these there are also sub-word classes as well, but the word classes themselves don't change. So for the next part of the video, I'm just going to go through the booklet with you, just to reassure you about some of the ideas within it. You can do this yourself, of course. I would urge you to take these and add them to your glossaries, but I just want to work through it so you understand the ideas. So we've shown what the word classes do and how they work, and then we're just getting down into the sub-word classes. So we've got abstract, concrete, you also know proper, yeah, and collective, which is a new one. So abstract nouns, non-physical things, such as fortune, health, desire. So again, you could put at or the or some in front of it, couldn't you? So there's some fortune or good fortune. There is, I have a desire to eat chips, which I do at the moment. Concrete nouns, physical things, so, wall, man, banana, cloud, book, stuff. And then collective is the new one. So they're singular, but they don't a group. So you can still put a in front of them as a group of something. There's a group of those. There's a gaggle of geese or whatever, and there's lots of weird ones, aren't there, in the English language, a parliament of owls. Okay? So they're sort of a group, but the reason we call them nouns is because, again, you can put a in front of them, and they're things. They're a group of things. Okay? Next thing to have a look at is verbs. Okay? So excuse the staple, the hole punching there. It's dynamic and stative are the two types of verbs. So you can sort of inflect verbs in different ways. So you can put different verb endings like ing for it happening now, I am running, or you can do past tense, ed, I kicked, something along those lines. There's regular and irregular ones, so if I am running, yesterday I ran, it's not I runned, and then there's regular ones where you do ed to put in past tense. So, you can do all sorts of things with tense, but essentially the sub-word classes are these two different types. So you've got dynamic and you've got stative. So really the only sort of difficulty with understanding those is that dynamic happens in time and space. So the physical actions and processes. So if I jump, I've moved in space, haven't I? If I stop, I've stopped moving. There's a movement in time and space. If I melt or something melts, that's happening in physical reality. It's sort of happening in time and space. But stative verbs tend to denote sort of interior states and senses. So words like I recognise, or I believe, or I dislike, verbs along those lines. So they're sort of internal mental states. There's a nice one that word feel actually can be both. So if I feel sad, that's an interior state, isn't it? But if I feel the pencil, I can feel the pencil. That seems more of a sort of an action in time and space. It's more dynamic, isn't it? So essentially, if I'm dropping the pencil, that's dynamic. It's happening in time and space. But if I feel sad that the pencil's dropped, or I believe the pencil has dropped, that those are stative. Okay? And then, of course, you can have phrasal verbs or verb phrases where you have like more than one word doing the job of a verb. So, sort of I blew up, or I took off. So a phrase is the job of it, but it's still essentially doing the same job as a verb. Now we've got adjectives. Okay, so I've just moved that up a little bit. Adjectives. As we said, they describe a noun, give you extra information about it. So exciting adventure, green apple, tidy room. You can swip them round as well. So the adventure was exciting, the apple was green, the room is tidy. You can put the adjective after the noun, what we call post-modification. But essentially, they're modifying that head word, that noun there. Okay? And then the ones that we wanted to learn in terms of subword class would be, these are quite nice and easy. So comparatives and superlatives. Comparatives compare, and they tend to end in er, so better, freakier, yellower. Whereas superlatives tend to end in st, such as yellowest, cutest, scariest. So that's quite easy. If they're an er ending, they tend to be comparatives. If they're an st ending, they are tending to be superlatives. These two new ones that you probably won't have come across before, evaluative adjectives. If you're evaluating something, you're giving a subjective personal opinion on it. So that's a beautiful pencil. This is a beautiful pencil. That's my personal opinion. I'm evaluating it. I'm judging it. Whereas if I define it, if I say it's blue, it's not really a matter of opinion. There's, further philosophy classes could be needed on whether that is opinion or not. But essentially, it's a quality of the pencil, isn't it? It's one of the properties the pencil has. It's not my subjective opinion about it. So it's defined as a blue pencil in that way. Or this is a small pencil. There's some element of subjectivity there, but it's a quality of the object rather than something that I feel about it in some way. Okay, and once again, you can have phrases where you have two jobs of an adjective. So it's sweet and sour chicken. Sweet and sour is defining, it's modifying the noun chicken there. Okay, over the page. We've got adverbs, okay, so again, you've probably done those before, but we're just separating them down into different types of adverb. So if they're giving information about an action, they can tell us in what way or when or how they happen. So we've got time adverbs such as yesterday or at 6 o'clock, an adverbial phrase, or yesterday morning, something like that. It tells us when something happened, and the happen is the key. Well, what happened? I ate a cake. When? It's telling us, it's modifying that action of eating the cake. Manner tells us how, so carefully tells us how you cross the road, whereas yesterday tells us when you cross the road. It's both information, aren't they? But about an action, but one's about when it happened and the other is about how it happened. Place tells us sort of where. So when we got there, it was full. So when we got there, place adverbs are sort of a little bit strange because they sort of can be confused with pronouns really, but they're describing the place when an action, sort of where an action occurred really. So when we got there, and it's sort of modifying that word got. Degree is about how much something happens. So it's pretty cold in here. It's sort of very cold in here. So when I was saying, this is a very blue pencil, you've got the degree adverb very, and then you've got the defining adjective blue, and then the concrete noun pencil in that way. Frequency tells us how often, so I'm always or I'm often, something along those lines. And then, of course, phrases, so words where you've got two or more words that does the job of an adverb. So in the morning I ate a cake, or in the morning I will eat a cake, or, you know, with great care, or with joy in my heart, or something like that. They're still modifying the action, it's just it's several words doing the job. Okay, quickly left then is we've got pronouns. So we'd expect you to know your person of pronouns. So that's not quite in the booklet, but I'd expect to look those up really. So you've got first, second, and third person pronouns. First is I, second is you, and third is he, she, it. But the ones that we're going to be testing you on is this idea of subjective, objective, possessive, and reflexive. So really, the subjective objective is just, is it in the sentence in a particular place? So if I was, when the pronoun is the subject of the sentence, so I ran home, the I, that pronoun, is a subjective one. It's the subject of the sentence. But if I was to, well, the pronoun is the object of the sentence. So if I was to say, I ran to you, the you would be the objective pronoun. So I would be the subjective pronoun, and you would be the objective. So when the pronoun is the object of the sentence. So imagine if there's, I don't know, I've got a cat at home, and the cat's sitting on the mat, and I say, I fed it, to refer to the cat. I fed it some chicken, I fed it. The object there is the cat, and the word replacing that is it, so that's the objective, and the person feeding the cat is me, that's Phil, so that's the subjective pronoun, that's subject of the sentence. Okay? Possessive, show possession. So again, don't be confused with determiners. So the cat is mine, yeah, or yours, things along those lines. And then reflexive ones would be referring to yourself. So myself, yourself, oneself, or themselves. So those different types of pronouns are the subtypes that we're going to look in there. But subjective and objective is probably the most important because it helps you to understand how sentences are put together. Prepositions. Again, into, on, with, under, beneath. But again, you can have phrases that go, you know, under the teeple, beneath the clear sky. And we'll get into that more when we're looking at sort of noun phrases and how you can use prepositions within noun phrases and adverbial phrases. Conjunctions then, in sort of subsequent weeks, we're going to look at the difference between coordinating and subordinating conjunctions. Coordinating and subordinating. At the moment, we want to say, you know, can you see that it's connecting words together, fish and chips? But technically speaking, coordinating conjunctions tend to be ones that connect sentences together. So I went into town and I had a nice time. It's connecting, that's coordinating. And subordinating would be ones with where you're making a complex sentence out of those, but we're not going to test you on those just yet. Determiners then, as we've done, they look like pronouns, but they're not. At the moment, we're not going to do first, second, third person determiners. We're just going to do definite and indefinite article. So we just want you to know the difference between the definite article, which is the, and the indefinite article, an. So if I say this is the pencil, I mean a very specific, definite one. This is the pencil that I'm talking about. Whereas if I say it's a pencil, it's one of many, isn't it? I'm not being definite there about which one it is. It's just a pencil. So that's an indefinite or not definite article. Yeah. So an interesting book, an open door, a city. Whereas if I say the city, I mean a particular one, a definite one. An indefinite means not definite, so it could be anyone. And then, of course, as we know, interjections, are, o, u, eek, ow, ah, whoa, etc. Okay, so that's everything for our revision. I hope that's been useful to you. And remember, you're going to be tested on these. If you get less than 50%, then you're going to have to redo the whole test. And really, given that you've got the booklet to learn from and you've got this video to watch, we would expect you to get 70 or 80% for this first test. So very best of luck. Please do keep on working independently. It's what A-Level is all about.